Ladies and gentlemen, the people of the mountain should never forget this. As the President William Ruto returns to the mountain starting tomorrow 31st March, I want us to screen this man who's returning to the mountain close to 3 years after the people of the mountain overwhelmingly voted for him, owing to the appeal made by the boy of the mountain, the ex-deputy president Rigathi Gachagua. Ruto is a veritable patron, the king of cronyism. He switches his political loyalists and swaps his perceived rebels not on account of competence, but based on how deep they kiss his ass. The absolute sycophants take it all, while the rebels kiss the exito. Let's revisit Ruto's political dalliance with Riggy and the subsequent dramatic fallout. This is how it all started.
Deputy President William Ruto made his maiden visit to central Kenya today, 2 days after the naming of his running mate, Rigathi Gachagua. The funeral of Gachagua's brother, James Ririani, the first stop, where the Kenya Kwanza flag bearer explained his decision to pick Rigathi Gachagua as his running mate for the August 9th presidential race. Martin Munene now reports.
The burial of Rigathi Gachagua's elder brother in Herega village, Madera, Nyeri County, provided the forum for the deputy president's first public appearance with his running mate, Rigathi Gachagua, in central Kenya. And here, Ruto explained his decision to have Rigathi deputize him.
I want also to assure the people of Madera, Nyeri, and the people of Kenya that Rigathi Gachagua is a very strong personality. And I am at home, and I was looking for a very strong personality because matters Kenya require men and women who are not fickle.
Other Kenya Kwanza leaders saying they're comfortable with the DP's choice.
I'm here to confirm to you that we stand by that decision.
In a small way, pre-celebrate the elevation of Rigathi to be our deputy team captain in the winning team.
Naomba kupata kiti ya deputy president Gachagua apate vizuri ni mpaka afike wa kuapishwa. Na kuapishwa huwezi apishwa kama hujapiga kura zikazidi kwa debe 50+1.
The bereaved Madera MP pledged his loyalty to Ruto.
I had some people saying, oh, if William Ruto picks Rigathi Gachagua is very strong. He could have problems like the ones they were having with Uhuru Kenyatta. Such a problem cannot come from a member of this family. I am a man who was in uniform. Mine is yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. I'm here that we as the mountain, we will stand with you to the man.
At the same funeral, the leaders downplayed any possible fallout due to standoff between Rigathi Gachagua camp and the Rakanithi Senator Kenyatour Kindiki's camp that preceded the deputy president's decision.
Fallout kwa sababu tumekosa kuwa na nafasi katika ile team kwa sababu ya one team going to play the other match.
Ruto and his allies later proceeded to a public rally in Gatondo.
Wakati umefika, and it is already defined very well the contest. The other day we unveiled our running mate, who is Rigathi Gachagua. Na ukichukua Gachagua uondoe RI, inabakia Chagua, na Chagua wako na Ruto. Kwa hivyo contest yetu ni Chagua Ruto.
Juzi tumeteua ndugu yetu Rigathi Gachagua kama deputy captain wa jeshi la Kenya Kwanza, na tumemwambia kazi yake ya kwanza ni kupanga mambo ya uchumi, kwa sababu uchumi ndio itabadilisha maisha ya Wakenya wote.
So after this, the election comes and William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua are voted in under United Democratic Alliance ticket. 2 years down the line, the Gen Zs rise against the oppressive system on the account of the absurd finance bill 2024, and it was in the middle of the Gen Z protests that the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, organized a press conference in Mombasa. And this is what he said. I want to show you the video. And this was actually the flashpoint of his rift with the president. And this is where and when the rain started beating him. Immediately after this, an impeachment motion was organized against him.
This should be the norm, listening to the people. I'm on record for the last 3 months of asking leaders to listen to the ground. And I'm happy that my boss, my president, has listened to the people of Kenya. As a truthful and an honest man, I must acknowledge that we must engage Generation Z and other young people and all Kenyans, including the church, business community, on critical issues facing them. It seems that either we have not listened enough or we have not communicated our intentions effectively, yet many have voiced their concerns. I would like to take this opportunity to ask our leaders to stop the culture of castigating the people with different views and opinions. It is time for leaders to tone down and stop the habit of talking down to the people. And this brings me to the critical issue why I've got this press conference. As Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, I and President William Ruto were on the ballot and were given a mandate by the people of Kenya directly. I am an elected Deputy President, I'm not appointed. I therefore have a responsibility to the people of Kenya, and that responsibility is informed by my belief that honesty and truth are critical components of leadership. We have lost lives, property destroyed, anarchy, fear, uncertainty. How did we get here? How did we get here? We were just elected the other day as a very popular government. Where did the rain begin to beat us? Where did we stop listening to the people? President William Ruto and I were the darling of the Kenyan people by listening to them, by engaging them. And as a government, we have established institutions to ensure we not only listen to Kenyans, but also genuinely understand their concerns. We invest significant resources in these institutions, particularly the National Intelligence Service, for this purpose. It is clear there has been a failure in the intelligence and advice we are receiving, particularly concerning crucial government policies. The President of the Republic of Kenya today has admitted that it has come to his attention that the people of Kenya did not want anything to do with the Finance Bill 2024. The President has now agreed that we need to listen to the people. And I sympathize with my boss, President William Ruto, because this information was not available to him. I know President William Ruto. Had he known 2 months ago that the people of Kenya did not want anything to do with the Finance Bill 2024, he would not have asked his parliamentary party to push it through. Yet, we have an organization paid by the public to give him and government such information. And that is where the problem is. We have a dysfunctional National Intelligence Service that has exposed the president, the government, and the people of Kenya.
So the deputy president is successfully but unfairly impeached. Even the donkeys in Morocco know that this man was impeached unfairly. I don't need to explain that. So the government goes on to crack down on the Gen Z protesters and starts abducting the dissidents. It is in the rough and tumble of the abductions that the son of the then Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, the one Justin Muturi, who had been moved from serving as the Attorney General to being the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service in the reshuffle that happened back then. So his son is abducted in the mix-up, and he comes out to call out the Ruto's government on these arbitrary abductions and disappearances of the dissidents against the government of the day. And this is what he said.
I've been quiet for some time now, and many people have been asking me where the country is heading and where we are, and so I would like to state as follows. I joined the Kenya Kwanza coalition owing to the fact that the principles that they espoused are in tandem with the principles of the party I belong to, namely the Democratic Party of Kenya. Many friends and political colleagues at the time warned me against joining the coalition, but at a personal level, I was persuaded that would be driven by the ideals and the values that the coalition stated as a hustler nation to do the best for the people of Kenya. One of the things we had accused the past regimes of was the existence of disappearances and extrajudicial killings of Kenyans, and we vowed that we would never, at our watch, condone or allow such. We stated this time and time again in the lead up to the last general election. Today, there has been a number of abductions and in some cases unexplained deaths since the Gen Z revolts of June last year. And it is unfortunate as most of the people being abducted and or killed are our youth, leaving the parents, relatives, and friends, other family members in a state of confusion and loss. I have personally served as my son was abducted and disappeared, and I was not sure whether he was alive or dead, making us anxious and leaving me and my wife and the rest of the family in turmoil. It must be remembered that at that time, I was the serving Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, and as is well known, a member of the National Security Council as comprised under Article 240 of the Constitution. Despite making several requests, I was unable to trace my son, and I made demands to all the levels of the security apparatus of the country. Now, more than 6 months later, after that ordeal and the release of my son by unknown forces, he has not been charged with any offense, and the government at all levels has not been able to give me any explanation or reasons as to his abduction by hooded armed gangsters. Ladies and gentlemen, I have taken this unusual, The security sector has said that they are not involved in the abductions, but interestingly, they have failed to stop them as they are happening in full public glare. The president has equally said that he would want to see the abductions end. Kenyans want to know how many of our youths have been taken in since the abduction started, how many have been released, how many are still being held, and where it is that they are being held. On Friday last week, to which the 3rd of January, at a funeral in Embu, I stated categorically that it was not possible for the government to say that they did not know anything about the abductions, because that amounts to shunning its responsibility on accountability. That is why I took the issue with a statement made by the Inspector General of Police that he did not know where the abductees are. In my view, the government cannot be excused for abdicating its duty of protecting the lives and property of the people of Kenya. I note that after my statement in Embu on Friday last week, a number of the youths that had been abducted and held in Kenyatour have been released. But from the reports that we see every day, there are still many that are still being held. The cardinal duty of the state and the government is to protect the lives and livelihood of its citizens, and cannot claim to be unaware of such serious breaches of the rights of Kenyans to live free from wrongful confinement and the violation of their inalienable right to life. Therefore, the security forces should arrest and bring to book all those that are involved in the abductions without fail, and all the young people being held in illegal captivity should immediately be freed. I'm fully aware of the doctrine of collective responsibility of cabinet. But since I'm also a victim of the abductions and serving in this government, I've not gotten any answers as to why my son was abducted, held in Kenyatour, and nobody gave any reasons for that abduction.
So after these damning allegations, everyone expected that the president would come out and defend himself and his government against these utterances. But he did absolutely nothing. He went mum. But his sycophants and cronies would be heard later on speaking against Justin Muturi, and for example, Kimani Ichung'wah, during an interview with the Al Jazeera, said in black and white that Justin Muturi was on his way out. Obviously, because he didn't get along with the president. The then majority whip, Silvana Sosoro, was also overheard telling Justin Muturi to either resign or they're gonna impeach him. Justin Muturi, on his part, he stood firm on his ground and he affirmed his claims that he's just being honest and is not going to leave office for being truthful and serving the purpose for which he was mandated to hold that office. But obviously, the relationship between the cabinet secretary and the president became very frosty, and Justin Muturi would go on and boycott the cabinet meetings and the president's sermons, or the president cabinet conferences and sermons and meetings. And this continued until some few days ago. I'm talking about last week, when the president officially fired him when he was doing a cabinet reshuffle, as I said, to switch his sycophants and cronies and swap his perceived political rebels. Ruto goes on to say that Justin Muturi was an incompetent AG, but no, even the Kamos in Somalia know that this man was not incompetent. How can a person who served in the House of Assembly for 10 years as the Speaker of the Assembly be an incompetent AG? How? And if indeed he was incompetent, why did you appoint him as the Attorney General? And why did you reappoint him as the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service? Why are you recycling incompetent servants, Mr. Ruto? It doesn't make sense at all. So Ruto awards his cronies and sycophants based on whether their political interests align, and if their political interests cross, he kicks them out. So this is not a man who is driven by competence. He's a man driven by egoism. If your interests serve my interests personally and individually, I'm going to reward you. But if we cross, it doesn't matter if you're right and I'm wrong or not. If your personal political ambitions and interests cross with my interests, I kick you out. That is the Ruto who is coming back to the mountain. This is the man who has come out as the cunning serpent, as the sly fox that he has always been. And the mountain, my people, that's what I'm telling you. Don't you ever forget that this is that man. And I'm hearing that he's now stashing, bundles of monies into gunias and is coming to bribe you guys. And I know my people from Murima are money worshippers, and they might be tempted to take this money and forget about the past. But what goes round comes round. If you babysit this wickedness, if you entertain this corruption, you gotta pay for it. You've paid already, but you gotta pay once again if you entertain this BS. So the money is coming tomorrow. Gachagua said, if you get hold of this money that is coming with, don't even take that money home. Don't buy anything in the house. You'd rather use it out there with your friends. Whatever you gotta do with it, it's upon you. But don't you take that money into your house. That's what the Rigiji said. And I actually believe him. But the thing is, the main point here is, as Ruto returns to the mountain, you expect that he's gonna come with all the lies on earth. He will try as much as he can to bamboozle you to vote him again in 2027. But the choice is yours. Otherwise, this is the man returning to the mountain. That's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to share, follow, and subscribe.